Voila.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, driving down the street, it's you and your friend in the front seat. It's about dusk, and you're kind of driving back from the park. Had a great day, and all of a sudden, you got your eyes peeled for deer, but one unexpected thing happens. You see a set of headlights swerve into your lane. You think they're just swerving around, not paying attention, maybe a pothole or something in the middle of the road, but you realize they continue to stay in your lane. You slam on your brakes, but that's not enough. You were just in a head-on collision with a drunk driver. You and your friend are critically injured. Although my life has not been directly impacted by a drunk driver incident or even driving impaired, I have made a citizen's arrest. I was actually driving down the street one day with my friends, and it was about 11 o'clock, and we followed a minivan for about a mile. And you could definitely tell that they were impaired. They were all over the road. So we called the police, and within 3 minutes, there was a set of cars flying up behind my car and pulled the minivan over. And doing that, I felt bad at first because I got somebody arrested, but then again, as I thought about it, I realized that I actually probably had to potentially save somebody's lives or even my own life down the road. So today, I'm here to urge you guys not to drink and drive because it can happen at any moment and at any point of the day. Even though you think it's morning, there's people out there that live at the bars and come home at 9 o'clock in the morning and then sleep all day. Drunk driving was an issue that, back in the day wasn't really taken seriously. I remember, my dad tells me stories that the cops would pull them over and, take the beer from them and either dump it out or they keep it for themselves. But in today's congested, fast-paced society, cops have been cracking down just because it's so important and there has been so many deaths. In 2009, according to the Centers of Disease Control, there were about 11,000 deaths because of an alcohol-impaired driver. You break that down into numbers, that's one death every 48 minutes. That means by the time this class period is over, somebody has lost their lives because of a drunk driver. Fatal crashes, as most of you know, happen during weekends on holidays. During the week, the accident rate's about 16%, and during the weekends, it's around 31%. Although those are good, I mean, the numbers aren't great, they're down from what they were. There was over 1.4 million arrests because of alcohol-impaired drivers, so DUIs, etc., in 2009. But that accounts for less than 1% of the actual 147 million self-reported alcohol-impaired driving incidents. So that's people who reported to obviously Centers of Disease Control that they actually drove impaired but weren't arrested. Dr. David Hansen, a licensed clinical psychologist, says that almost half of the fatal accidents occur during the day with a blood alcohol content of 0.2 or higher, which is obviously over the legal limit, 2 points. Not only are you putting your own life at risk, but you're also putting drunk drivers are putting the lives of children on the line. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in 2009 says kids under the age of 14, there was a total of 1,314 deaths. 181 of those deaths occurred because of a drunk driver, which is about 14%. And 92 of those kids, or 51% of those 181 kids under the age of 14, were killed because the driver had a blood alcohol content at a 0.08 or higher. So that means their parents, grandparents, aunt or uncle basically, in a sense, killed their own kids because they were irresponsible. But if you lift the age from 14 to 20, kids under the age of 21, it amounts to 3 people per day loses their lives in this nation because of drunk driving. After you hear all these startling numbers, you need to think about what goes on our roads nowadays. And every time we potentially get into our car and drive to this class or to Bucks County Community College, we're putting our lives on the line because we don't know what the other drivers are like. So sitting here urging you not to drink and drive just because of these numbers. out of control. If you look at it at a more personal level, I handed out a survey in this class about 2 weeks ago. So the first question that I asked in the survey was, have you ever driven under the influence? 1 out of the 12 people that I surveyed said yes, they've driven under the influence, which is not, I'd like to see 0, but I mean 1 isn't too bad. The second question was, do you know somebody who has driven under the influence? And 10 out of 12 of you said yes. Now, if you compare that to the 1 out of 12, it's kind of good that you're not following your friends or parents' footsteps, because it's really not going to get you anywhere except for in trouble or dead. Third and final question that I asked in the survey was, do you know somebody's lives who has been impacted by an alcohol-impaired driver? 9 out of 12 of you said yes. So what I mean by that is they were arrested, you might have lost someone, a loved one, because of a drunk driver. So that number is still too high. I'd like to see like nobody's lives be impacted, because it is 100% preventable, and you don't need to drink and drive. Because the numbers are so high, there's plenty of preventable steps that you guys can take. I mean, granted, some of you aren't over the age of 21 yet, but let's face it, like, we all kind of go out and have our days where we go out and party with our friends. But we have to be responsible about it. The couple preventable steps that you can do right now, like if you go out on like a weekend or such, have a designated driver. I've been a designated driver plenty of times for my parents' family functions, and even my friends. I don't mind getting a phone call, you know, kind of like, Mike, can you come pick us up, because I'd rather save a life than lose one of my friends' lives. If you're at a party, take the keys. You can, it's easy, throw them in a basket, put them on top of a cabinet, and just watch the people and make sure they don't try and take their keys and such. I mean, that's happened to me a few times, and my friend's parents take the keys. Let's see, obviously don't drink and drive, call a friend. And if you suspect a drunk driver, call 911. You know, there's no text line or like anything you can do to prevent it like from happening like right now today, but you can make a difference at an ongoing time. Drunk driving is 100% preventable. Since the implement of strict laws, David Hansen, Dr. David Hansen has said that it was at 60% in 1982, and since then it's dropped to 41%, which that statistic was taken in 2002. That's the earliest one I could find. So every time you make the decision to drink and drive, you're putting your life on the line and potentially your own family. So just take certain precautions and make sure you're being responsible about it. You know, if you have a family, you don't want to put them on the line, plus you need to be responsible and kind of set a good example for your kids. Driving under the influence has shaped millions of people's lives around this nation. I mean, it can ruin marriages, it can, as well as ruin your own life. You can put yourself in jail, I mean, depending on how many offenses you have. So it's very important to keep these roads safe. So taking these preventative steps will save, obviously, lives, and it's really important not to drink and drive. Even though the numbers are down to 41%, that's still not low enough. I mean, 41% is pretty high. It's up to 9 points away from 50%. And that's a fairly large percent of people that still drink and drive. So, I mean, if we all work together, play our part as a community role, and kind of take these preventative steps, we can bring these numbers down. So, today, I was here to urge you not to drink and drive. I have a handout to give you of some percentages, pretty startling to me, so I printed it out and just give you guys a look. So, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you almost stopped already.
You guys didn't see it.
I know,
Excuse me?
he was stabbed and like missed it by
Did he have a step there? Was there a step?
I was just staring at your feet.
He said,
I know everybody's watching my feet. What's wrong with my feet?
he made a citizen arrest.
He did that, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
He was never affected, but he made a citizen arrest.
Okay, very.
Who did you call on your cell phone when you called the police about the robbery?
Well, at the time, I just called 911. I mean, there's supposedly a separate number that you can call, which is like police dispatch, but I didn't feel like calling like 411 or directory assistance to find out this number, so I just kind of did the quickest thing to do, and we called 911. So, I mean, it was actually
And
kind of...
when you call 911, what police department do you get? What jurisdiction?
I was in Northampton Township.
And it automatically goes to Northampton?
I had called, we were in the middle of Richboro, and passing the Hess station in Sunoco right there in the corner of 2nd Street and Alms House, and they were making a right, and they took an extremely wide right-hand turn, and then they kept going over the yellow line back and forth, so we laid back, and we're like, maybe this person's just messing around, because they were like they were in a minivan, and as we started going, like they would slow down and speed up, and then like kind of like go off, like, and kind of bring both wheels over the yellow line as oncoming traffic. So we were like, all right, we kind of need to make a phone call right now. So we called, and literally within like blink of an eye, you just see these lights come flying up down Newtown Richboro Road.
So you were able to give the location?
Yeah.
So wherever you are, because 911 is a universal number, is it? But it automatically goes
Yeah.
to the wherever you're calling.
So I mean, I know we were sitting there like, holy God, like, that could have been us. We could have like come in oncoming traffic, but we were lucky because we just came that way, and then we dropped somebody off and then we were coming back. So that could have been us. And
Sure could have.
lane.
Good for you. Good for you.